I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johnny, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Let us start with prayer. Heavenly Father, we gather in your presence today and give you thanks for all the many blessings that you pour out upon us. The way you bless our lives and the way you blessed our club and Rotary and all the services that it performs worldwide. We give you thanks, Lord, for this food. May it nourish our bodies, and may we find ways to serve others with the strength we gain from it. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, I don't see Nelson, but looks like Amanda is here. And
she's been out killing bears, guys.
Me and Yogi were like this.
I guess we'll go with first person Rotary, okay?
Sounds good.
R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, he profits most who serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
I don't have any listing of birthdays this week, so anybody want to fess up? No one? Anniversaries? All right.
I had an anniversary, y'all might already said it, but it was October the 6th, my 43rd wedding.
Wow. Congratulations. I'd like to hear her side of the story.
Yeah, I would too.
43 years. Well, if it's going to be anniversary, I just had my 18th on the 23rd. I know, right?
Ron, do we have any Sergeant Arms report? Ah, I asked you right when you
Good, you got him.
I just asked everyone to be on the best behavior with our speaker today.
Absolutely. Yeah, for someone who drugs are their life, like myself, I have to be careful.
Would you like to expand?
I think I'll just read that.
I just get real nervous when they start talking about death penalty for drug pushers. Amanda, would you share with us your report?
Yes, I'm still working on it, so I won't give you a number, but we do have a couple of guests with us today. We have Joseph with the Batesville Guard, who's not really a guest anymore, but he's here today, and we appreciate that. And we have a couple of high school students. If you guys don't mind, stand up and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'm Beth Beck, and I'm a senior at Batesville High School.
I'm Elena Maya, and I'm a senior at Batesville High School.
Thank you. And Kurt will let you introduce your group in just a second. Other than that, just a friendly reminder that if you ordered polio shirts, I have them here, so please come see me. I also laid some of the new brochures out on the tables. The new brochures are in, and if y'all want any to hand out, I've got a few extra with me today, so just see me and I'll give you some. And Wednesday night is Help and Hope night. So don't forget, we should be meeting this Wednesday night at 5:30 at Help and Hope for about an hour. If you can make it, we would love to have you.
I don't see Dwight or...
Apparently he's busy sending out invoices. My email just pinged and it was my Rotary invoice.
Yes.
That's it. Amanda, is that called an excused absence?
Possibly.
We want to thank Johnny Kemp for being our greeter today, and next week's greeter is going to be Butch Kitts.
Hard to top Johnny.
Pardon?
Hard to top Johnny.
Absolutely. I want to turn it over now to Rotarian Kurt Grafton. He's going to introduce, or let them introduce themselves and talk to us about why this nice looking group is here.
You know, at the last Rotary meeting I had with me a student from Lyon College, or 2 Rotary meetings ago it was. I had a student with me from Lyon College, Tommy Maloney. and he took advantage of a different Rotary Club sponsorship to go to the RILA, Rotary Youth Leadership Academy, and he has gathered together a group of students who might be interested in starting a Rotaract chapter at Lyon College. And they're here with me today. And what I would like to do is ask each of them, stand up, tell us who you are, tell us what brought you to Lyon, and what is it you've heard so far about Rotary and Rotaract from Tommy that makes you interested. And then if folks have questions or if you want to tell them things, now would be the time. So.
My name is Gordon Gower. I'm from Thayer, Missouri. I came to Lyon all this year, I think, are part of the new honors program here. So we're hoping to get that started. Me and Tommy have talked quite a lot about it. We had similar Rotary experiences in high school. The Thayer Mammoth Rotary chapter funded me to go to Boise State in Missouri, and I also received the Rotary scholarship when I graduated. And so I already had a good relationship with my own local Rotary club, and I was just wanting to help build that connection with Lyon College as well, and have a better connection with the community and Rotary as a whole.
I'm Michael Humphrey. I'm from Strawberry. I came to Lyon. I was going to come before they said that there was an honors club. It's a small school and it has a great community, and I really liked that everybody was so friendly with everybody else. And Tommy said that Rotary was really all about helping the community and making the community even better, and I was like, all right, let's do that.
I'm Allison Bundy. I'm from Bryant, Arkansas. And once again, Tommy caught me in the kitchen. I was like, hey, you should go to this. And I had heard a little bit from back home. I wasn't very involved in it, but I had good friends who were. I have one friend actually, she's in Peru right now for Rotary Center to go study abroad. Yeah. And so I was just very interested.
I'm Emerson Smith. I'm from Little Rock. I came to Lyon because it was pretty much exactly what I was looking for, and then I heard about the honors program, got a good scholarship, so there's like no reason not to come here. Haven't really heard a lot about Rotary, other than like you guys do a lot for the community and stuff. I thought that was cool. So.
My name is Kristen Towery. I'm from Bay, Arkansas, which is just outside of Jonesboro. I haven't had a lot of experience with the Rotary Club either, like Emerson. Tommy's just told us it's really a great way to interact with the community, and I thought that was pretty great. I came to Lyon for the good academics and the honors society thing that we have.
One more. My name is Zach Poe, and I'm from just outside Jonesboro as well. And the reason I went to Lyon was basically because, like I said, I'm from outside Jonesboro, and I grew up learning a lot about ASU, which is a very big state university, and I didn't want to be just another face in the crowd, you know. So I thought Lyon would be a good way to really get out there, get outside my comfort zone, and experience some new things. And I was kind of like Emerson and Kristen. I'd never heard of Rotary at all. So Tommy's been talking y'all up. I was really
Good.
So
Welcome.
If this is something that is going to be pursued, it's going to take support from both sides. The club has to be willing to sponsor and take some involvement in, and similarly, the Rotaract folks at Lyon would have to take responsibility for making that club work, choosing service projects and things like that. So, if anybody has anything you want to tell them or ask them, now's the time.
Could we get a list of their names and email addresses? I have a Lyon email, and I'll be glad to communicate with you guys. We have things going on.
Like
You guys on the list?
Yeah. Open house night, y'all are welcome to come out and hang with us. Meet out there about 5:30. You can meet with me after the meeting, and I'll give you directions, or Kurt knows how to get there. And y'all can come kind of see what we do.
Well, thank y'all so much for attending and showing an interest in your community. Even though it may be a short time that you'll be here, hopefully we can create an environment in which you want to stay here for a long time. And our club will be discussing this, and we'll be in touch with Kurt, and we'll work toward that end if y'all have an interest in pursuing this. Let me just make a couple announcements. Sorry, draw attention to Help and Hope this Wednesday night. The next event, November the 27th, is the Christmas parade. And is someone heading that process up at this point? As far as the planning? We're a month out, but.
Me too. Wayne, are we still, think your truck and trailer will still be available? Okay. We'll have something in the works, so if y'all guys want to start buying the cheap Halloween candy tonight after midnight, start bringing in your house, or, well, really, don't bring it in. If you'll hang on to it, so we don't have a storage place here.
Okay.
So if you'll hang on to any leftover Halloween candy and start buying candy, we'll get that from you before the parade so that we have something to hand out. But yes, we will have something going on.
Okay.
Me and my buddy over there, we'll get something going.
All right.
Mom, don't eat it.
And,
Don't eat it.
be sure to put it on your calendars that December the 11th is our Christmas party. I'm going to turn it over now to Brenda Henley, who's going to introduce our speaker.
Yeah, right here. He really needs no introduction. Everybody knows our sheriff, Shawn. He's very proactive since he's taken office, which I greatly appreciate that. You're in the paper constantly about going out there reaching out in regard to the drugs, which you're going to speak about today. You're very proactive about that. I think it's making a difference here. So you're going to talk to us today about the drug take-backs.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me here. As I'm sure most of y'all or all of y'all know, we have a permanent take-back box at our office, which we take drugs year-round. We done an estimate. We've got right at 300 pounds before Saturday, and we haven't emptied it out yet to see what we took back Saturday. We're estimating somewhere around 400 pounds of medication that's been taken back since the last take back in the spring. And that's, we had, I think it was just under 300 pounds back in the spring that we turned in. So, I mean, it's a good thing that we have that box year round, but it's used constantly. But there's probably not a day that goes by that there's not somebody bringing medication and dropping it off. That's a very good asset that this county has, is to be able to have that. And there's not that many in the state that has a around-the-clock box that people can drop unwanted or unused medications off. As far as the drugs in the county, we are very proactive at that. We was able to reinstate our narcotics program, and as of, I filed a warrant Friday about noon, and we were at 370 felony warrants so far this year. That's up from 357 that were filed last year, which not all of those are narcotics warrants, but probably, I'd say 85% of them are. Whether it be felony marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine. There is some heroin showing up here now. We've got a few of those, which I suspect that the heroin will be more prevalent starting next year. They call for a 25. The DEA called for a 25% reduction in the manufacture of opioids this year. And what we're operating on this year is what they produced in 2016. So with the 25% reduction this year, it will affect us next year. And their studies show in the states that's called for the reduction in the production of opioids, the heroin has started coming back. So I suspect that we will start seeing more of it starting then, the closer we get to the end of this year and into next year. So that's something that we're getting aggressive toward, along with the meth. I know one way to tell that we are getting what I call ahead of the game on on the methamphetamines is the price has jumped about $40 or $45 a gram. But we do controlled buys, and from the first of the year till now, the prices went up tremendously. So I think we're getting ahead of it. We're starting to see some of the people that we were dealing with on a regular basis here, they're moving to other counties. They're starting to show up in their court systems in other counties. So we're trying to get ahead of it. I don't know if we'll ever completely do away with illegal drugs, but we're trying, because as long as there's people that want it, it's going to be here. But we're trying to make a difference. We want to make it a safer place to live, trying to make our community better. That's pretty much all I have. And if anybody has any questions, yes, ma'am.
Have you seen any or significant issue in the school system? I've got a ninth grader and a fifth grader, and I worry about other kids bringing some candy or stuff like that. The gummy bears and all these things you see on Facebook or just the internet to school, and getting your kids something that looks innocent.
We haven't had a lot of issues. There's been a couple of instances in a couple of schools that there's been some students found in possession of some prescription medications. Nothing that we found so far that has been illegal, but they have prescription medications, and which they usually don't have them in a bottle. They've got them in a bag. And we had one instance where they had some pills in a bag, and once we got to looking, it was stuff that you can get at GNC. It's the herbal stuff, but still, you can't have that stuff at school. But it hadn't really that we've had to deal with. The school officials may have had something, but as far as us being involved, 2, maybe 3 incidences so far. Yes.
Have you looked at taking any precautions or any kind of public service announcements, like states like as New Jersey, for like Halloween candy, for parents to be on the lookout for stuff to be put in with Halloween candy, so edibles or anything like that. They're warning parents to make sure they go through all their candy when they return home after trick or treating.
We haven't yet this year, but that's something that we will start with probably late this afternoon and tomorrow on our social media page at the sheriff's office. We've been talking about that week, but like I said, we're going to start probably late this afternoon. We'll do 2 or 3 different announcements on our social media page.
Shawn, how does the heroin find this community?
A lot of it, what I feel like it's following the same path as the methamphetamine trade. I mean, it's coming in. There's been some things that we've investigated that ties from, it's just a path from Mexico to New York, and it, for some reason, decides to come through here, which Batesville has had the reputation for years of being the hub in this area, and we're trying to correct that to force it somewhere else other than here.
Do you guys still search the school, like the Red Dog?
Yes. The school resource officers will request us, and we'll make routine visits 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year to the different schools.
So could y'all visit the Walmart parking lot?
I would love to. We currently have, speaking of our drug dog, we currently have 3 narcotics dogs. We have a 5-year-old yellow lab. She's a good dog. She's excellent. She's one of the best drug dogs I've ever seen. But she's a single-purpose dog, so she takes drugs on. We've got a 4-year-old. It's a Malinois that is a drug dog, an apprehension dog, and a track dog. He's dual-purpose. Like I said, he's 4. And then we've got a German Shepherd that will turn 3 in January. That's a single-purpose narcotics-only dog. He has the potential. It wouldn't take much, I don't think, to get him to bite, because we have a bite sleeve, and when you get the bite sleeve out, his ears perks up, and you can tell he really would like to bite that sleeve. But he's a very friendly dog. I've had him. I originally had him when I was in Newark, I've had him at the school down there. He loves kids. He has never, ever had made any attempt to try to bite anybody, and the kids down there just went crazy over him. They just petted him and wallered all over him, and he was as happy as he could be.
Shawn, what can we do to help this within our community?
Just if we can get the word out, you know, especially on the prescription medications that we do have, which we've got a big banner out front that we just got, because so people will know that the box is there for the ones that don't. When we're on different calls, we have people that will ask. We get the message out, but if anybody asks, just let them know that the sheriff's office has a around-the-clock drop box that they can bring it and drop that off. If anybody has or knows of somebody with a family member that they've heard them talk about having a problem with abusing prescription medications or illegal drug abuse, we'll be more than happy to sit down with that family and tell them steps that they can take, avenues that they can take to get them help, get them treatment, to try to turn their life around and get them off of the addiction.
What is the best way to handle a situation if you suspect that drug activity, illegal drug activity is going on at a home, in a neighborhood?
You can call us. We have it's not really a charge, but in the report system that we use, we have what we call a suspected drug activity. You can call any officer, you can call myself. We'll do a report under that suspected drug activity, and in our reporting system, we can put a security lock on that report, where there's usually only 4 of us that can see that report, and we'll start an investigation on it.
Is there any particular way you like for us to package those drugs when we drop them in the container? Is it okay in the bottle? Would you rather have them in a plastic bag?
In the bottle's fine, or in a plastic bag, either way. Most everybody, when they bring it up, the only thing that we ask is that there's no needles dropped in there. People bring them, leave them in the bottles, put them in a Walmart sack. The box is an old night deposit bank vault, is what it is. So, I mean, there are people that just bring it in a Walmart sack and put it in, as long as it fit in the drawer when it opens.
Liquid medication's okay too?
Yes, ma'am. That is fine. It goes in there. I think there's been maybe once or twice that the bottle is busted when it went in there, but when it goes in that vault, it goes in a plastic tub. So if the bottle does break or whatever, it's going to be contained, and then we can clean it out once we empty it out.
And tell us again why you don't want them flushed down and come out.
Well, if it's flushed, the unfortunate thing is that, you know, if they know that it's flushed, if an addict knows it's flushed, they will try their best to get any way to get it out. I mean, some medications, or most of them, will dissolve, but there's people that will take desperate measures to get their fix on whatever it is they're addicted to. Yes.
Just going to add to that, not all drugs are cleaned out by the water treatment system either. And so flushing them down the toilet can put them in the environment, in rivers, even back in drinking water too. There are lots of studies out there that show the number of medications you can detect in streams and rivers and so forth that are not processed by regular sewage treatment.
I know at Batesville we have random testing in our athletics and for senior high for driving purposes of their driving. Is that true countywide, or I know Batesville does, but I don't know if other schools.
Yes, other schools have random drug testing policies, and I know that they do drug testing in athletics. I know Cedar Ridge does, and I know Southside does, and I'm 99% sure that Midland does also.
Here, Stephen, so once the drug take-back program is facilitated, where do those drugs end up? Do y'all incinerate them?
We have a incinerator, but it's not very big. So what we have been doing the last few years is we will take, and in fact, it's tomorrow between, I think, 8 and noon. We load all the medications that we've gathered. We take them and meet the DEA at Newport, and then they take them to Little Rock and incinerate.
Gotcha.
They can do it a lot faster than, it would take us probably 3 days to incinerate 300 pounds.
Wow. What's your manpower right now as far as, you know, deputies and everything that you got out?
We have 4 on each shift that works the streets. Right now, with everybody trying to get their time taken before the end of the year, the 2 that we have in the academy, we're running with 3. Which, if somebody needs to take off and we're down to 3, I won't let anybody work, let any shift work with 2 people. It's not safe. In fact, I worked nights this weekend because we had somebody off and they would have been down to 2. We take turns. I have redone the staffing at the sheriff's office where we have somebody from administration and somebody from the criminal investigation division that actually works evening shift each week. So that gives us more people on the street. That's some of the changes I've made to try to cut down on comp time. We have 1 narcotics investigator, which works with the narcotics investigator with the police department, plus with the 5 that the 16th Judicial Drug Task Force has. And then we have 4 in our criminal investigation division. We have 2 in the warrants and civil process. And we have 7 school resource officers in the county. Cedar Ridge has 1 full-time, and they got some reserves that also help. Batesville has 3, Southside has 2, and Midland has 1.
The other addiction that's going on in the county, the state.
The cell phones.
What is, I know there's been some law changes, in the texting, hands-free. Can you speak to kind of what the law kind of speaks to it now?
Well, there's not supposed to be any texting and driving. And the sad thing is that it still happens. I drive an unmarked vehicle and I drive through town all the time and they're looking for a marked patrol car with blue lights on top, and I see people texting and driving all the time, which stop them, explain to them. Anybody in a commercial motor vehicle has to be hands-free. They can't be holding a cell phone at all. It hasn't come to that yet for smaller vehicles, but I really figure that it will before long. Everybody will have to be hands-free. And you'll see people. In fact, I seen one last night stop and they sitting there looking at Facebook while they're driving down the road. I seen the phone lit up and they sitting there, looked like they was thumbing through it, and I stopped them, and yeah, they were thumbing through social media. Big distraction. People don't realize how quick an accident can happen.
Sheriff, there's a lot of people now that are seeking and receiving their secured or concealed carry permit. My question to you would be, if you stop someone and they were carrying, exactly how would you like for them to declare that they have a gun?
Well, if they have a concealed carry permit, when we ask for a driver's license, they're supposed to hand us the concealed carry.
Right.
And most everybody will tell you that they have a weapon in the vehicle, and I'm fine with that. Whether they tell me or not, just there's some officers that get kind of beside themselves if they don't tell them that there's a firearm and they find out later that there is. I mean, if they want to tell me, that's great. If they don't, I don't have a problem with that, as long as, you know, they're not acting a fool or trying to just be completely unbearing. You know, we're just trying to do a job. We're not out just picking on people just to be picking on them. But if they do have a concealed carry, they're supposed to hand us that license with their driver's license. Yes, sir.
Do our officers here have body cameras?
Yes, they do. The body cameras that were purchased They were purchased last year under a grant. They didn't get put into circulation until January, and we've had a lot of problem with them because it's hard on them to just sit on the shelf and not be used. And we've been fighting that problem. We've got several of them that have tore up that are out to be fixed. And if that continues, because the warranty just ran out on them the end of September, and they're very expensive to fix, if that keeps up, we're going to have to do something different. I'm looking at a different brand of camera if we have to replace them. But yes, we have some cars that have cameras in them. They're just so expensive when we buy new vehicles. It's too expensive to put the actual car cameras in them. But as far as the body worn cameras, yes. And we're also looking at putting those on our bailiffs for transport and court.
Do officers prefer to have the body? I feel like if I was an officer in today's climate, I would want the body camera as protection for myself.
Most people do. Most officers do want it. When they first come out, they'd been used to not having them, and they were kind of apprehensive about them. But once you explain to them it's for their protection, and if something happens, if there's a complaint made or anything like that, we can go back and review the video. And I get probably 10 to 15 complaints a week, and I go back and review every video that there's a complaint on, and 99% of the time that complaint is unfounded. Every once in a while you'll have one that's a legitimate complaint, but we review every one of them to see that, whether it is or not. It's actually a really good asset in the officers. Now that they've gotten used to them, everybody pretty much prefers to have one. Yes, sir.
You mentioned Batesville has a reputation for being a drug hub. I don't know what I'm speaking of, but I have a hard time believing that we're any different than a city our size. I know we've got a drug problem, but every city in Arkansas has a drug problem. Yes. Based on your time in office, what do you think?
I don't know that we're as much, per se, as a hub for drugs, because I agree with what you're saying, that every city has drug problems. What that was based off of was some of the bigger drug busts that they made on the interstate. Supposedly they were coming to Batesville to be broken up and redistributed. But I think that problem is in every, it might not be as big as in the smaller towns, but I would say that a town our size or bigger, that it's the same across the United States. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Sheriff Stevens, in our quest to deal with literacy issues, we will be donating a book in your name to the local library.
Thank you.
Any other announcements for the sake of Rotary? If not, us end as always with our... Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, the most
I have some mad people.
Mr. President.
I'm not sure of anything today. Can you draw me out a winning ticket? Just make sure it's mine. Okay, it's a red ticket, 2317482. 8248. We're up to we're probably around $760.
Are you supposed to have a joke if you don't put it?
He'll be the one on the bottom.
Not that
She's feeding you the card. That's a good one, Max. Yeah! But not high.
Try again next week.
So what's our numbers now?
I think we're somewhere around $760.
All right. That's pretty good. Well, thank y'all for attending today, and as we always end our meetings, let's say the four-way test. One, is it the truth? Two,
Is it fair to all concerned?
three,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
and finally, will it be
Beneficial to all.